wanted to tell you the story about how the Dave and Ione met. It's a short one, but it's a fun one. The dad belonged to the stake, the same stake as she did, and you don't always see them very often, the other people. And mother was in the church at that time, in other words, she was already at church, and all her kids, her brothers and sisters, which is a lot. And the door opened up, and there was Dave. And she had seen him before, but it didn't register. And the same with him, it didn't register. But anyway, he came in, and she went over to her friends, and she says, "He belongs to me. Don't even think about it." And she says, "And I mean it." And so she went over there like she was, embarrassed and stuff. "Oh, hi, Dave." That stuff. And that was how they met. And he asked her out to the next dance, which was kind of like a big one. In those days, you were lucky to have clothes because it was Depression. She only had one dress to wear for a month, or a year, the same dress. And she didn't know how she was going to do it. But she said, "Oh, I'll be there." And she borrowed clothes and little pins and things from her friends so they would, update it. She says, "I don't really think he cared about it." And then later, when they got married, they had their picture taken, and that's what they were wearing. And for years, I couldn't understand why Mother and Dad wouldn't wear a suit or a nice dress. They're in their Van Woerkom house, his folks, and they're just standing there, like you would. But it was like nothing's fancy. There's no flowers that I remember. Nothing. They just stood there and got the the regular session for a funeral. I was going to say for a wedding, and then it wasn't until much later, many years, to me as a child, is Mother and Dad. We went to Salt Lake, and I thought we were going to see Grandpa and Grandma, and we were in Portland. So anyway, I said, "What are we doing here?" She said, "Well, we got to go get Grandpa and Grandma because we're going to get married." "Well, you already are married." And they said, "Well, we're going into the temple, and we're going to get buried." And I knew what that meant, but anyway, so 2 carloads of us all went to the temple, and there we were. I was part of the little kids. They put us in a little playroom type of thing, and all these little kids were playing with that stuff. And I thought, well, this isn't the temple. This isn't any fun. I have to sit there with Leon, and he's little. There's nothing to do but play with a car or whatever, a little toy. And anyway, so finally, it seemed like, like at least a half a day, but maybe not. They came into there was a lady come when she was all dressed in white, and she said, "It's time for you to follow me." And I can't remember what we were wearing, but we may have changed clothes as well. Anyway, we went to the Salt Lake Temple, and it had a lot of stairs, kind of like this. And so we finally got up to the top, or not to the top where we needed to be anyway. And I looked, and there was my mother. She was, so beautiful in that dress. And she had, the thing on her head. I forget what they call it. But anyway.
Veil.
The veil, yeah, sure. So I told Mother, I said, "My Mother, you're so beautiful." She says, "Don't tell me that, I know." And I said, "You should know. You are beautiful right now." And she didn't realize that she was beautiful because she still thought she was before she went there. She thought well, anyway, Dad came, and he looked taller and thinner and in his uniform and his clothes. And he came over and looked at me, and I said, "Dad, you look really nice." And he He just stood there with big eyes, like, oh, did I? Do I? And he'd taken him a whole lot of material, thoughts and feelings, and what it means about it. And he says, "Where's Dean?" And then Dean came. He was, he was coming up the stairs. I think he was holding Leon's hand up, and we went up. But anyway, and then later we met outside, and it was at Grandma and Grandpa's, I think, Barker, and everybody was just smiling. The whole family, we were all just smiling. We felt so happy. And I think we may have had some pie or something. And Grandma always made pies for everything. So then we had to head back to Portland. So that's how it went. And I thought, I can't believe my mother and dad took this long to get married. What was so, I didn't understand. But now I do. Grandpa used to drink coffee. He got that into that when he was on the train, and he had to stay up all night and make sure all the people that entered the train at night, he had to get all their, where they're going, who they are, and what car they're going to be in. And you had to take them down and put them in the right car for the night, and make sure that the thing is lifted down to make a bed for them and all that kind of stuff. Or they had to sleep in one of those kind that are just a kind of like a window. Well, it's a window, and then as you get in, it's a little curtain type thing. That's all you get, once or the other. And he had to make sure that luggage stayed with them and had their name on it and everything. And then he might be able to go back to sleep or rest, and they couldn't because they're going to stop at the next town. The next time, they're not that far. A lot of them just, go down. Keep going. Anyway, I think that's it.